Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our next episode of Cubism. I'm Aaron, joined today with Drew Gansky. How's it going today?
It's getting pretty late.
It's getting pretty late. We already botched one of our recordings, so we're here again to try to get this working in our new studio that we finally have built, so hopefully we'll be able to bring you regular content. Not that we haven't tried to promise that before, but hopefully this time it sticks. So, today we're bringing you our first impressions of Hour of Devastation. Hour of Devastation is only a couple weeks away, and we're starting to get into the thick of spoilers. We've got a lot of cool ones already, and I know you especially have been a little more standoffish than this time around. A lot of these are
usually standoffish, but I actually feel standoffish about almost every single one.
So a lot of these are very much the first impression, with a very, very few exceptions. Obviously, as leaks come out, it's very difficult for Magic players to not enjoy having Christmas 4 times a year, to enjoy all the spoilers that they can get.
So you want to review the next set that came out already?
I do not want... You know what? I really don't. That's too bad. That's very unfortunate. I hope that Wizards of the Coast... I hope this doesn't happen again. It just ruins the set. Like, I'm so not excited for after Hour of Devastation. We already have half of Pirates of the Caribbean
with dinosaurs.
Spoiled. It's unfortunate. So, today we're going to talk about the handful of Hour of Devastation spoilers that we think are worthy of the conversation to be part of, maybe be part of a cube like yours, or mine, or maybe Drew's, or someone else's. So we're going to talk about a handful of cards today, and then, when the whole set's out, we're going to release our full review. But again, this is just a first impression. So the first one is one of the first spoilers that we got so far, was Bontu's Last Reckoning. So Bontu's Last Reckoning joins are now what seems to be a plethora of black Wrath of Gods.
It's fair to say. There's been quite a few recently.
Yeah, between, with
Languish and Yahini's expertise, and I guess there's the one from Commander.
Yeah. And then then obviously with Damnation, Toxic Deluge,
Crux of Fate.
Crux of Fate. There seems to be a lot of selection now. So, it's kind of like White. Like White, they have 2 Wrath of Gods, but they also have Terminus and Rout and Martial Coup.
And a dozen 5-mana ones.
And a million 5- and 6-mana ones. Fumigate was one of the better ones that came out recently. So, Black's starting to get to that point where in the selection, they've already been at this point now where they have this plethora of sweepers to play. So, Bontu's Last Reckoning is our newest one. It has the new exhausts all your mana mechanic.
It's like exert your mana, right?
That's probably a better way to describe that. It is a mana mechanic, so it exerts all your lands. But in exchange, for 3 mana, you get to destroy all creatures in play. What do you think of that?
Like, I'd rather have a 4-mana one, and then I get to take my next turn with no problem.
You don't think that the cost reduction is worth cleaning up the aggressive creatures as opposed to costing the extra mana?
Like, never, basically. I heard the argument that I might see Modern play, and I was like, the format kind of ends on turn 3, so...
No, that's fair. It makes a lot of sense. It's really hard to compare things to Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge is such a powerful card, and it was definitely the Damnation variant we all hoped for. That card's so good. And even Languish. Languish was a very, very good, does a very good job kind of mimicking Damnation. But...
the point of a Wrath is you clean up all the extra creatures that are kicking around and gain advantage of that. And you're just giving it back to the opponent by here's 2 turns. Go nuts. Yeah,
time walking yourself for this effect isn't that good. I know, like you said, in Modern, there's the argument of, you're playing a fairly heavy controlled Grixis deck. You could play reactive a lot of the time. You can kind of squeeze this in and then still play defensively, or kind of pick and choose your battles. But Bontu's Last Reckoning, playing a limited format, I think it just translates a little poorly. So unfortunately, I do like the card. Its art is fantastic. I'm a big fan of the Alligator Man Bontu, but I think it's
not the god though.
No, I like that card, but I can't like it enough to put in Cube.
Okay.
So I think it's a pass, unfortunately. So the next one was it's definitely the most talked about card, I think. It's only been out for a couple days.
Nimble Obstructionist?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. just couldn't understand how to say the
I was
second
going to
part of the
ask
word.
you if you can say that word, but I thought I'd embarrass myself.
I only know because somebody, as I was trying to say, like, hey, Elliot, you seen this nimble ob guy? And then someone's like,
Nimble
Obstructionist?
Obnixilus?
Like, yeah, that guy. Nimble Obnixilus, that guy.
Yeah.
Has gets plus 2/2 if you have threshold and landfall, you gain 3 life and they lose 3 life.
Yeah, it's great. I love that card.
That's great. So I know someone made a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Apt?
Apt? Is
No,
apt the word?
it's
I don't think it's not
definitely
apt.
It's definitely not apt.
Pretty strong.
Rough. Unfortunate?
Maybe. Saying that they were going to replace Vanillion Clique.
I don't think anyone
That's the
actually
word.
said that.
Well, some guy said he might replace this card. Is this card Vanillion Clique power level?
It's like Dagger Claw powerful. With Flash.
Yeah, it has Flash. So, this card is very cool. It lets you stifle, for some reason, only your opponent's things. For 2 and a blue, you get to draw a card, which is great. Or you get a nifty 2 and a blue 3/1 flyer.
I actually like this card.
I do too. I think, this card's packaged in a lot of different ways. It lets you kind of block when you need to. It kind of turns into a clock when you need it to.
Unfortunately, this is going to be I'm going to cast this no matter what happens, unless they do something that I need to cycle in that turn, because it's going to come out as a 3/1.
Yeah, I think 9, especially a lot of game 1s, you're just probably going to jam them out as the 3/1 Bird Wizard, but...
Slightly better Pestromite?
Yeah, I definitely like one Pestromite, but, as games 2 and 3 go on, maybe being able to sandbag the Stifle effect is noteworthy, but I think this card is definitely the 3-mana 3/1 Flash creature part of it more than it is the Stifle part of it, unfortunately. But that doesn't take away from it at all. I do like the card quite a bit. It's just raw power toughness for what you're paying for it, with evasion.
So if they have a fetch land, and this is turn 3, do we run this guy out or recycle him?
I think I still don't think you cycle him. Like, I don't know if the Stone Rain is worth it. Your blue deck, depending what deck you're on, but typically as a control player, you're not really gonna take advantage of the point that your opponent missed the land. Never mind having to spend a card to do it. I guess it does replace itself because it's pretty good, but I don't think you Stone Raining your opponent as a blue player, you can really take advantage of it too much. So
I'm pretty partial to running it out as a 3/1.
Yeah, I think running it as a 3/1, it's like I said, more times than not, it will end up being a very efficient body for what you're paying for it. But every now and then, we'll be able to leave a pretty good story in its wake.
Counter a Garrick Overrun?
Yeah, countering some sort of sweet Planeswalker abilities is pretty awesome. Speaking of Planeswalker abilities, Nicol Bolas has 4 this time around.
And how many of those are good?
He has 4 abilities, Drew.
I heard Jace was a good card. It had 4 abilities.
I heard Garrick Apex Predator was not a good card.
I like that card.
It has 4 abilities.
They're all sweet.
So Nicol Bolas, the God Pharaoh, who's just running amok in Hour of Devastation, he, like I said, has 4 abilities. He's easier to cast. He has better art. A lot of things going for him. He even costs less mana. But do his abilities do anything? The old Nicol Bolas, sure, it's harder to cast. It costs blue, black, red. Hopefully I'm getting that right. And it costs 8 instead of the 7. Making it arguably harder to splash, but at 8 mana, But the good thing about old Nicol Bolas was that both of his plus effect and his minus effect affected the board immediately, dealing with a non-creature problem you had or taking control of your opponent's best creature. Where this Nicol Bolas, while being a lot flashier, he gets to cascade and cast one of your opponent's spells for free, which is fun. He gets to mind rot your opponent, which is good, but if you're resolving your 7-mana sorcery or 7-mana sorcery mind rot, I kind of want a little more out of it. At that point, if it does anything else, you're probably fine. And then for -3...
-4.
Oh my god, -4.
I'm pretty sure there's a red sorcery as a common as one of these effects.
Remember Shivan Meteor from Time of Sprawl?
I like Shivan Meteor.
It's
You can
13
suspend
something.
that,
You
though,
have
right?
no business 13ing
You
something.
can suspend that.
Yeah, you absolutely can. But why? I guess I understand the flavor of Nicol Bolas 7ing something. We couldn't just kill a creature. No, we just gotta 7 it. If I 7 something and it lives, I'm gonna be pretty mad about my 7-mana investment. So, this card, it will most likely kill a creature. And its ultimate is actually also kind of a letdown from what the original Nicol Bolas was. The original Nicol Bolas had the flavor of the even more originaler Nicol Bolas hitting your opponent, them taking 7, them discarding 7 cards or their hand. That effect was very, very powerful, and sacrificing 7 permanents. Where this Nicol Bolas just exiles all non-land permanents they control.
It's kind of like a worse Ugin effect.
Yeah, it is a worse Ugin effect.
Can do it now.
Then it comes to play and does it right away.
Yeah, you have to go through a bunch of Gonti exile effects to get there for this one.
Yeah, so you have to play it, kind of mess with its cascade effect, which, again, is fun. It's definitely gives me a reason to want to play it. But,
well, as someone who cut the original Nicol Bolas, because it was hard to play, no one really wanted to play it. And when they often played it, it lost them the game because they had stuck in a hand. Not going to play this one.
With the rise of Nicol Bolas, the God Pharaoh, it definitely got my play group talking, and because of that, I put old Nicol Bolas back in.
But people are forcing themselves to play it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because of the hype machine that is the God Pharaoh. It originally was just
It's a step up from God King, right?
Absolutely, you're Pharaoh. But originally was initially a placeholder for the God Pharaoh. The more and more you kind of compare them, the more and more I just like the original Nicol Bolas. So I do like the card quite a bit. I will probably end up playing him, or at least testing it over the original Nicol Bolas. Yeah, I definitely think there's no reason to not play it. He's definitely powerful enough. He has a lot of crazy abilities. It costs 100 mana, but that's okay. So I'm very happy. Like I said, the effects are kind of maybe not exactly what I was looking for, but the card is flashing nonetheless. It did not fail to impress me. Its art is fantastic. Raymond Swallen is excellent. Yeah.
Second Raymond Swallen.
Second Raymond Swallen.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. That's good. We're on the same page. So, Nicol Bolas, so next is Nicol Bolas' buddy.
He can't kill.
He cannot kill it.
Yeah.
That is a good point. What's his name? Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded, is the next of Liliana's demons that she seems to be trying to be getting rid of. That I think, in the storyline, I think they released a story of him dying before they printed the card, which seems kind of lackluster. But, nonetheless, we're granted with another Griselbrand-esque demon. It costs also 8 mana. It is an 8/8 flying trample. Does not die to Nicol Bolas -4. It doesn't getting 7 isn't enough.
That's what we call a flavor fail.
Isn't that for flavor win? They're buddies. They're
Yeah, but he served Nicol Bolas, right?
Well, maybe he might just
if he could just come over for 8 because you're not going to +2 Nicol Bolas when you cast him, and he's going to exile some cards. You're just going to kill him one shot.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe they're brothers in arms. Maybe they intentionally made him a 8/8. They could have made him an 8/7. Well,
Still not going to play him.
Yeah, I'm not going to play him either. So he's very powerful. He has flying and trample, which is very, very good. He closes games out fast. He lets you sacrifice another creature. I guess it makes sense to sacrifice another creature. It doesn't make sense to sacrifice yourself to Demonic Tutor for something. But he sacrifices extra guys you have around to Demonic Tutor. So if you're able to stick him and then have any amount of guys around, you're probably going to win that game. But you could say the same for Griselbrand. You resolve Griselbrand, you draw a muck full of cards. Even if they manage to deal with them, you have a lot of other cards that hopefully close the game out.
So I feel if Griselbrand's too powerful or expensive for your cube, this is an option.
Griselbrand's real cheap nowadays, just because of they reprinted him in Modern Masters 2017.
Okay.
And he's banned in Commander, so he's not that expensive. If he was not banned in Commander, I imagine he'd be very expensive. This card, there might be a world where this card's worth more at some point, just because it's new. I do think this card's interesting. I do like it as a reanimation target to some extent. I don't like, for example, I'm not a fan of Shieldred. I understand the power of Shieldred, but I don't like how slow it is. For what I'm investing to get some sort of big 88 out fast. I want it to have some sort of either resilience or some sort of immediate benefit. And Razaketh can do that. He does this turn. You can, let's say you reanimate him.
You can get a backup
reanimator. It kills
spell.
him. You tutor up some reanimation spells, get him back again. So this card's probably interesting, worth trying in a reanimator deck. He's not quite, he's not Griselbrand, but not everything can be Griselbrand. He's definitely better than Kothofeb, I think was the original, or the one in Magic Origins.
6/6, flying, something to do with permanence down here.
Okay. So,
worse art?
I actually like the art. It's the art of...
We're going to do a Cubism art podcast one of these days.
Art's really good.
Pictures and drops.
The dual deck Demonic Tutor has, I believe it's Kothofeb's, that carving Liliana's skin. So I like Kothafeb for that reason.
You like Kothafeb for a completely unrelated card?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's really sweet. Big fan.
So about a fan of this card.
I liked her before she was a Planeswalker.
So, like, how many 4 casting cost, 2 green-red Planeswalkers do we need?
All of them. Literally a million.
Can we fit... We have 5 red-green Planeswalkers,
Yeah, we can just play...
right?
Your girls section can be entirely Planeswalkers now.
And
none of them are
would be
good.
the best one?
Well none of them are good.
I play the Xenagos. So.
I also play Xenagos. I feel like a sellout playing Xenagos.
It always makes a 2/2. It's the only one that gives you guaranteed value.
It feels bad. But, so...
Underwhelming, I think is the correct term.
Samet the Tested is the next line of the Gruul 4-mana Planeswalker lineage.
Just churning them out.
They just churn out these Planeswalkers, and you want them to be good. And it just seems like they didn't even try with this one. So, this card, like, as much as I dislike Sarkhanval, this card is bad Sarkhanval. Sarkhanval has a similar effect. Instead of just giving one guy double strike, he gives your team +1/+1 in haste. He gets to threaten a creature instead of just Forked Bolt, which is a slap in the face. And then instead of having to tooth and nail my 2 best guys out into a Wrath, I get to put 5 dragons out into a Wrath that I don't have to play out of my deck. So Sarkhanval is just better, is 100% better than this card, and I don't even like Sarkhanval, which might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not a big fan.
I gave Sarkhanval a shake. Not really a fan. But I was never really super thrilled with any of them, so...
No. So, and you know what? It's unfortunate, because my favorite Gruul Planeswalker is easily Dominated. Dominated is a really cool card, but unfortunately, it just is so lackluster and limited.
You play it for the fight effect.
You play it for the fight effect. You play it, fight a guy, you get this Planeswalker that will hopefully draw you 1 creature eventually. But it definitely isn't the powerhouse it was in Constructed, unfortunately. That's how a lot of cards, unfortunately, translate into Limited, for obvious reasons. But yeah, Samet is another swing and a miss. It's too bad. I liked her more as a creature. And I didn't like it that much.
It's been pretty good.
It card's flashy. You know, like I said...
It has flash. Don't make that fun. I don't like puns. It's like a dad joke.
One of the first cubes that I put them in, somebody played Samet off the top of his library off of Vizier the Menagerie. It was excellent. Untapped and dealt probably 3,200 damage. I think that was the exact number. But it was pretty great.
This one doesn't do that. Doesn't even work with Vizier of Menagerie, otherwise giving it double strike.
It doesn't. So, the last couple cards on our list here are the new incarnations of the Nicol Gods. So now they've all been spoiled. I do love the flavor of them, but do I like them? So the first one is the Locust God. And Locust God looks like it does a lot. It's really, again, can I say this one's flashy?
Like, it's kind of, his art's kind of dull.
Yeah, but
it's a little brown.
It makes
Brown's
so
not
many
a flashy color.
guys, and it draws cards, and like, this big Locust man.
I guess.
It's moderately flashy.
Okay.
So, originally, I wanted to compare this card to Keranos as another card that comes into play, has little to no immediate effect, but then over the course of a couple turns takes over the game. But a more exact comparison was the Niv-Mizzet Draco Genius, which you mentioned to me earlier.
I want credit for that, yeah.
100%.
Either the Niv-Mizzets, generally, because they both draw cards.
But Niv-Mizzet Draco Genius specifically has this activated ability, draws you cards, deals damage instead of making flyers.
Yep.
But, Draco Genius, it's obviously a much more constrictive mana cost, but a similar-ish in effect, kind of a bigger body, arguably better activated ability. It's very similar, it helps to close out games very easily, but I don't really think that's what the Izzet decks need. Where I like Keranos, again, my initial comparison to Keranos would be that Keranos comes into play, also unfortunately has no immediate effect on the game, but over the course of the next 2 turns, the card kind of, like Austin, the old Cubism co-host before we set him over to Pauper Ponderings.
Yeah. Don't like Pauper in this corner.
No, we don't. No Pauper. So he compared it to... He would always say that Keranos has Suspend 2. And then...
There's 3.
Suspend some amounts. Suspend 2 or 3. If you're still in play after those 3 turns, you've won the game. Like Keranos, again, doesn't give you an immediate value, but over the course of a couple turns, if you're able to stabilize with it, it does outpace your opponent very, very easily. Isn't super easy to activate, but just the extra cards and bolts and stuff, it gives you every single turn. is able to upvalue your opponent very easily on a very hard to remove permanent. Where Locust God, I guess, is hard to remove in a sense that it buys itself back, like all the other gods do.
6 mana.
Well, 6 mana, and its activated ability costs 4. But you have the dream, though, of like 7 mana, play it, brainstorm,
Every turn,
guys.
you could, like, make a guy or 2 guys.
You play it in, like, Gush. Yeah, okay, fine.
I like Scarab God in a platonic sense.
I like
I'm
Scarab
not sure if I'm
God.
using that word right.
I don't know, I'm not good with words. I like Scarab God because it's the only artwork I could find that was high resolution.
Now you pointed it out, that's all it looked like. The next card, not high resolution.
The next one is hopefully I find a better one before this airs. But it's not good. Scarab God is thankfully not a mill god. I was worried it was going to be. I think everyone was worried it was going to be.
It benefits from mill?
It does benefit from mill. So, this one, also very little immediate effect unless you have some sort of crazy zombie synergy. But
it costs 5, so it's immensely cheaper, and
Yeah.
it's bigger.
yeah, it's bigger. It fights on the ground a lot better. So, the Dimir card pool isn't super big. And I think because of that, there's kind of room for this card. I think if you would have put this in, let's say, obviously in blue-white, no. Even in red-blue, not really. But at blue-black, right now, we were actually just talking about it, I think my guild slots are like Dragonlord Slumgar, fantastic. Baleful Strix, another great one. Far Away, take it or leave it. And then I play like Agony Warp, and I'm not really happy with that one. And you play
That's a you problem. Talisman of Dominance.
Talisman of Dominance, which is fine. And then Night Spell Spectre?
Yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah.
You're not solving that one.
Dimir cards aren't very good. So I know there's a few holdouts who are still holding on to the Days of Old of Psychotog and Shadowmage Infiltrator, but I've given up on those, unfortunately. And
I could see playing it over far and away.
yeah. I think and obviously if you have Tezzeret, it's very, very good if
Yeah.
you support the artifact deck at all. But
Top pick.
Absolutely. But because unfortunately I guess unfortunate for Dimir but good for Scarab God is that because the pool is shallow, there's a chance it's worth trying out. It's definitely the one I'll be trying out the most. I don't really know if I like its beetle face, but I'll try it either way.
I'm not gonna print off this high resolution picture and frame it on your wall.
Maybe, I
wake
might.
up every day.
I might.
His beetly face.
Yeah, like Scarab God, if you're able to tap with it, it takes over the game pretty quickly, just eating any of your opponent's guys, making them 4/4s.
It's gotta be at least a couple in the graveyard by now. It's 5 mana.
Yeah, you're pretty good. You play this control deck, you probably have a lot of them. So, I think this card has a lot going for it. A bunch of attacks is irrelevant, but 4 mana, make a 4/4 with whatever random abilities your opponent's creatures happen to have, or any of your creatures happen to have. I have to read that really quickly. The card seems fine. Again, not super jacked about it, but definitely worth trying because of the unfortunate card pool that is Dimir. Now we have the very moderately resolutioned Scorpion
It's
God.
an okay movie.
The Scorpion God, you just want it to be the Rock?
That was it's about as good a resolution as this picture, actually.
Probably. Those are like 480p, like.
Bad CGI.
So the
It was a
Scarab
good
God.
movie until that happened, but continuing on.
The Scarab God was the first god spoiled. And initially I was, you know what, and I'm still pretty, I don't want to say I'm high on it. I'm like a 6 on it right now.
You were pretty excited when you told me about it the other week.
I was pretty excited.
Like, what do you think about this 6/5? Just like slowly lifts off its abilities while I continue to care less and less when you're talking.
Like I told you, I prefaced it with, okay, it's going to have something to do with -1/-1 counters, and you're just going to have to hold on. It's like, you just have to bear with me.
Okay.
So, -1/-1 counters, beyond, obviously it's self putting the counters on stuff. The interaction it'll have is probably limited to Kitchen Finks and Murderous Redcap. But, it is a very big body, and a color combination that doesn't really need it, unfortunately. Its activate ability is fine, but if you're spending let's say a whole turn eating a 2/2 just to draw a card, it's probably not the kind of battle you're trying to win. Fortunately, unlike the Dimir God, the Scarab God, where you can just kind of keep attacking, keep making guys, and not having to worry about actually getting in the damage, the Scorpion God wants that damage, and the Rakdos deck wants to close the game out. And unfortunately, it doesn't have evasion, obviously. It doesn't have trample. The stats are good, its ability is fine, but it's just not exactly what I want out of my Rakdos cards. It just doesn't fit the bill very well.
So we've had conversations about that in the past. Like, you want the Rakdos slots to do what Rakdos does, and we've kind of started shying away from that.
Yeah, so we're very much of the opinion, we share a similar opinion, that we want your gold cards to best represent what the color combinations do best in your cube.
Without the gold cards.
Without the gold cards, right. So red, black, they try to kill you really fast. They don't do a whole lot beyond being paired with blue and making a really good control deck. So a lot of Rakdos sections are like Rakdos Cackler, Kolaghan's Command, some splash of Terminate Dreadbore, Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. Then there's the case for Olivia Voldaren,
Murderous Redcap,
and then like Rakdos Return. Like those three cards aren't really aggressive cards, but they're all good. They all definitely could earn a spot. And the Scarab God isn't too far off either. The card is powerful. It does a lot of stuff, but it just doesn't contribute to what that deck's trying to do. So like maybe it's a good Jun card, but Jun has a lot of good cards. So
the premise of the deck, one might say.
It's just all good cards. So as much as I like the Scorpion God, I don't think it really necessarily has a deck you can fit into, or necessarily a niche it fills. So while I think it's probably up front, maybe the most playable of them, I just think it just doesn't have a home. I don't think it has a home, and I think it's a little bit of a miss, unfortunately.
I also have like kind of like a soft limit on how many expensive cards I allow in the cube, and this one
expensive
might push it over like casting cost wise.
Okay.
So like I don't want my open a pack and everything costs 3 or more, for example. Like even I want my answers to be cheap, I want my creatures to be cheap, and this probably doesn't fit in my I don't know graph. Say it should be this actually.
Yeah, not going like this. That's all we want to be. Yeah, if you find yourself having too much of that, then you just create this battle cruiser magic that is a lot.
Some people enjoy.
That is a lot of the Magic Online cubes. So again, this isn't. I'm not saying the Locust God, the Scorpion God isn't good enough. I do think that's just on power on power alone, similar to Olivia-esque. The card is good, and the card is arguably playable.
So is Scorpion a bug? Locust, Scarab, Scorpion.
Is a Scorpion considered a bug?
Probably not. It's probably an arachnid. I don't know. I'm just sounding retarded right now.
So, alright, so there is one more card that I do want to talk about. It wasn't originally on the scheduled plan, but you have to forgive me this one time.
So I was going to tell you to describe it to me like I don't know what it is, but I know what it is now.
So the card we're going to talk about is Veronis' Last Stand, similar to Bontu's Last Reckoning. It's another, what's the word? Exert
the lands.
Exert your lands. In exchange, you get 2 green, 5/4 vanilla. Is this card good enough?
So like, I don't like anything that comes into play tapped or ties up your resources for like more than what you use it for. And I guess the problem is like, when do you want to cast this? So if you try and cast it on turn 2, and then you don't do anything for turn 3, and they kill it, you lose probably. Or your board is like infinitely bad, and hopefully they're not doing anything other than casting Doublade on your guy. And if you cast it late, like it could be any mana cost, right? It could be like a Polochronos. And it's got an extra toughness then, and an effect. So like, what are you trying to get out of these cards? I guess.
A lot of the time, like when I first saw this card, the thing that I immediately thought about was Echo. If this card was just green, 5/4 Echo for green, that card's not bad.
How many Echo cards do you play now?
I only play Deranged Hermits.
Yeah, actually that makes sense. I was going to say none, but
Riders. But I don't play. I recently cut Riders, but just Deranged Hermits, and obviously. Okay. But if this card was green, 5/4 Echo, green, it'd be better because then it obviously doesn't lock up all of your mana. So
it'd be a creature too. You can cast it off his ear.
Yeah. So I like like I said, I think having to walk yourself the following turn, I think it's a little more than what I bargained for. I would kind of wish it had this echoey effect, but I guess I don't know how. I guess I'm looking forward to hopefully the blue one, hopefully one of them, because they spoiled the white one as well. The white one puts you back to your original life total, which is 1 white. We're all going to be rich, just like Reno Jackson.
How much does that one cost?
3. One red white.
It's not bad.
No, that effect is very powerful, especially against the right decks, the aggressive decks. Once you're able to turn the quarter, bam, back to 20 life.
It feels like a sideboard card, actually.
It is. It is a sideboard card. I can definitely see it in, being a player in Modern. Any kind of white deck decided against Burn or whatever. And then, the very few... Thankfully, playing Hearthstone, I know what it's like being on the receiving end of Reno Jackson, which is a card that does... This is a Resolute Archangel. That was
Does
very
that come
playable.
with the body, though?
It does. It's 6 mana for a 5/4. 4/6. But like
I'm just gonna believe you.
Resolute Archangel was a card that's like it, but was not at all playable. Anyway, that card is rather backbreaking in there against the right matchups. But back to Ronus' Last Stand. I don't like I said, I don't quite like it, unfortunately. I think even you play it on 2 and it dies, you play it on as like a curve filler and it dies, or not even it dies, but it can't gain a lot of traction. Like there's a lot of things getting in its way. It doesn't have evasion, doesn't have trample, and that's obviously a lot to ask for such a low mana cost.
You can't give it any other abilities than what it currently has.
You could like Austin and I used to joke a lot. So you could make prints. I'm not quite sure where the mana cost is. Let's say a six mana. Let's say 7. With a 7 mana, 100. The card's unplayable. Without some sort of way to some sort of like fling effect, but a giant idiot for some amount of mana isn't very good if it has no abilities. Now this card isn't quite that, but it definitely the fact that it eats up almost your entire next turn, barring mana guys, it just doesn't feel quite worth the trade off. The tempo loss and even
a large amount of magic that. Like when I'm looking at the board and deciding what to do, it's like, do I want to develop my board or do I want to do this? And like, this is hampering. It develops your board, but it hampers everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I also don't quite understand the artwork. It's like he's throwing a snake, and I was like, is that just like Ronus? Is he like Earthworm Jim? Does he just have a snake that sits in this human body situation? Because it looks like the throwing Ronus. I don't understand the flavor.
No comment.
I just wanted to
maybe we'll have to reevaluate our pictures and drop this podcast.
I'm sure it's explained in the lore, but
I'll look forward to the Aaron Paquette lore on a budget. It's good. A lot of quips.
Yeah, maybe I've always said I wanted to start that series, but never done it. Maybe I won't.
Now we have the technology.
Now we have the technology. I can put in Ronus behind me. He can have his hand over my shoulder while we're talking. But anyway, so that's been that's it, I guess.
Yet another episode in the day in the life of the Cubism, the podcast.
Yeah, hopefully with this, we have now a permanent fixture that is not in Drew's living room, that is always set up.
That I got to travel to now.
That you have to travel to. It's much Fusion Gaming is much further than your living room, but it's fairly idiot-proof, with a few exceptions of I'm still learning how to use this camera properly.
How many times recorded?
Fairly idiot-proof.
Okay.
At least the setup, the lights and everything is fairly idiot-proof. It's just it's now user error, which unfortunately is not idiot-proof. So that'll be it for our initial impressions of Hour of Devastation. I know I'm excited for the Hour of Devastation pre-release.
I'll always take the medium stance, unless there's a whole bunch of cards I like. And right now, I'll take the medium stance.
Yeah, right now, I definitely, we've only gotten the tip of the iceberg. Hopefully there's more to come, at least. So again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. I've been Aaron.
I'm Drew.
Thanks for